O'Reilly Automotive returned 2,928% over 15 years. Nearly 30 times your money, from selling brake pads and windshield wipers. It got so expensive per share, the company had to split its stock 15-for-1 in June 2025 just so its own employees could afford a share. And its rival AutoZone did something stranger. Since 1998 it has spent $40.7 billion buying back its own stock, shrinking its share count from about 150 million shares to under 17 million. An 89% reduction. The company is quietly buying itself out of existence. Let's get into why this boring business mints money. Start with the single number that drives the whole industry. The average car on American roads is now 12.8 years old. A record. Think about what that means. The typical vehicle getting repaired today was built around 2013. It's out of warranty, past the dealership relationship, and it needs parts. Passenger cars specifically average 14.5 years. New cars now cost around $50,000. So people keep the old one running, and an aging fleet is a part-selling machine that gets bigger every year it isn't replaced. Here's the counter-cyclical magic Wall Street loves about this sector. When the economy is strong, people purchase new cars, fewer repairs, but a healthy aftermarket anyway. When the economy is weak, people can't afford a new car, so they fix the one they have, and repairs go up. Either way, the parts move. You cannot defer a dead alternator or a worn brake pad. Transportation isn't optional. During the 2008 to 2009 recession, AutoZone and O'Reilly both significantly outperformed the S&P 500 while most of retail was collapsing. A business that does fine when times are good and better when times are bad. That's about as close to all-weather as retail gets. Now the part that separates the winners from the losers in this group, how you reach the customer. There are two channels. DIY, the weekend mechanic walking into a store. And Do It For Me, the professional repair shop that needs the part delivered in 30 minutes. The commercial channel is about 56% of the market and growing faster, because modern cars are too complex for most people to fix themselves. O'Reilly's edge is that it runs both engines at full power. Its commercial business posted double-digit growth in early 2026, and overall comparable store sales rose 8.1% in the first quarter, a stunning number for a mature retailer. AutoZone, historically a DIY house, is now growing its commercial business about 3 times faster than its retail side. Let's put the field on the board. AutoZone, $19 billion in revenue, 19% operating margins, the buyback champion, a $50 billion company. O'Reilly, almost $18 billion in revenue, the dual-channel compounder, 33 consecutive years of comparable sales growth, a $73 billion company. Genuine Parts, the Napa owner, $24 billion, but about to split into 2 companies. Advance Auto Parts, the Cautionary tale we'll come back to. Plus LKQ on the collision parts side and Dorman in specialty parts. If you're following this boring oligopoly series, pipelines last time, auto parts now, subscribe. Next up, the payment networks that tax every swipe of your card. Same depth. Start with the most relentless capital return story in American retail. AutoZone did about $19 billion in revenue in fiscal 2025 at a 19% operating margin. But the magic isn't the growth, it's the math. By spending nearly all its free cash flow shrinking the share count almost 90% over 25 years, AutoZone turns modest revenue growth into outsized earnings per share growth. Fewer slices, same pie, growing pie. The stock trades around $3,000 a share precisely because management never split it and never stopped buying. It's a case study in how capital allocation, not just sales, builds a compounder. O'Reilly is the one that does it through operations rather than financial engineering. Almost $18 billion in revenue, a 19.5% operating margin, and, the number that matters most in retail, 33 consecutive years of same-store sales growth. In the first quarter of 2026, comps grew 8.1% and earnings per share jumped 16%. The June 2025 15-for-1 split tells you everything. Before it, the stock had risen roughly 4,300% since its previous split in 2005. This is what 2 decades of disciplined dual-channel execution compounds into. Now the most important slide for understanding why this is a quality business, not just a growing one, because not everyone wins. Advance Auto Parts was once neck and neck with AutoZone. Today it's worth 1/15th as much. Its market cap collapsed from roughly $14 billion to $3.4 billion. It closed about 700 underperforming stores, shut distribution centers, sold off acquisitions, and cut its dividend to zero. In fiscal 2025 its big achievement was a 0.8% same-store sales gain, its first positive comp in 3 years. Same industry. Same tailwind, the same aging fleet. The difference was execution, inventory in the right place, parts available when the mechanic calls. In this business, the moat isn't the product. It's the supply chain that gets the part to the bay in 30 minutes. Let's address the bear case head-on, because it's the first thing skeptics raise. Don't electric vehicles kill this? The math is real. A gasoline engine has around 113 moving parts. An EV motor has about 3. E-versus need 30 to 50% less maintenance, no oil changes, no transmissions, no exhaust, no fuel pumps. But here's the timing that defuses it. The average car being repaired today is 12.8 years old, built in 2013, long before e-versus went mainstream. Electric vehicles are still under 10% of the cars on the road. The fleet doesn't flip to majority electric until the 2030s at the earliest. That's a 10 to 15-year runway for the traditional aftermarket, and e-versus are heavier, so they chew through tires and brakes faster anyway. One more name worth understanding, because it's restructuring in real time. Genuine Parts, which owns Napa, did $24 billion in revenue, the largest top line in the group, but it's two businesses bolted together, auto parts and industrial distribution. In February 2026 it announced it will split them into 2 separate public companies by 2027, a bet that each is worth more on its own. On the edges sit LKQ, the recycled and collision parts specialist at $14 billion, and Dorman, which engineers the hard-to-find replacement parts the big chains resell. The pattern across the whole board is the same: scale and distribution, parts availability, and capital discipline separate the compounders from the value traps. Now the honest column. First, the EV transition is a real long-term erosion, slow, but directional, and it will eventually shrink the parts per vehicle math. Second, valuation. AutoZone and O'Reilly are well-loved quality names and rarely look cheap. You're usually paying a premium for the compounding. Third, e-commerce. Amazon and online parts sellers pressure the DIY side, though the 30-minute commercial delivery mode is much harder to disrupt. Fourth, execution. Advance Auto proved that in this business, a few years of supply chain mistakes can vaporize 3/4 of your market value. So the debate isn't whether the aging fleet is a tailwind. It's price, and which operators keep executing. Where does this go over the next 1 to 2 years? Base case, mid-single-digit revenue growth, high single to low double-digit earnings growth at the leaders as buybacks and commercial share gains compound. Probable, not guaranteed. 3 things to track. 1. Average vehicle age. If it crosses 13 years in 2026 as forecast, the structural tailwind strengthens. Watch the annual S&P Global Mobility figure. 2. Commercial comparable store sales. The do-it-for-me channel is the growth engine, so watch whether O'Reilly and AutoZone hold mid to high single-digit commercial comps. 3. The Advance Auto turnaround and the Genuine Parts split, both tell you whether weaker hands consolidate or recover. Catalysts up. A recession that pushes more repair over replace, a deeper aging fleet, continued buybacks. Catalysts down, a faster EV transition, an Amazon push into commercial delivery, or a new car affordability breakthrough that refreshes the fleet. Upstream sit the parts manufacturers like Dorman and the global suppliers, downstream sit 50,000 repair shops and 100 million aging cars. The distributor in the middle keeps the base supplied. Selling brake pads doesn't sound like a way to beat the market for 15 years. But an aging fleet that grows every year, a business that does better in recessions, and management teams that shrink the share count or grow same-store sales for 3 decades straight, that's how the most boring aisle in retail produced some of the best stocks in the market. I'm Big Z, follow me, see you in the next deep dive.